and it raises something that is both legal and extra legal, in the sense that it's a policy decision which perhaps the committee which will give the opportunity to listen to this petition, Mr. Speaker, will have to guide us. Mr. Speaker, you're aware that the Commission for Revenue Allocation conducted an extensive study after being moved actually by this House, Mr. Speaker, because you know for a long time this country was used to description of hardship areas as certain parts of the country, and it began by a very erratic and whole-scale definition of what a hardship area is. Previously, Mr. Speaker, if you read the reports of this House, you will recognize or realize, Mr. Speaker, that there were certain regions actually, or what used to be referred to as back in the days in the previous constitutional dispensation as provinces that were considered to be hardship areas. But eventually, Mr. Speaker, with the guidance of the Budget and Finance Committee of this House, Commission of Revenue Allocation updated its reading and appreciation of this particular matter to know that while you can have a county, say, as rich as Kiambu, that there are certain parts of that Kiambu County that do actually qualify as marginalized area because of either their placing, agricultural dispensation, and so many other factors that will involve poverty index and all those things that go into the consideration of what an arid and semi-arid area is, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, listening to the petitioners, first, it is clear that TSC is still living in the old dispensation where you classify hardship areas as constituencies. Yet we have moved actually from constituencies. We are now at wards. Out of the 1,500 wards in the country, Mr. Speaker, a good number of them has been classified as hardship areas or arid and semi-arid areas, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I expect that the committee that you will give this petition, Mr. Speaker, will guide us so that as a country we can have a unified policy that applies for teachers, applies for police, applies for the purpose of equalization fund and all these considerations, Mr. Speaker, because it's the same people, the same country, the same geographical location. We cannot have different classification for different forms of services, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, that will be the biggest achievement over and above what these residents and the teachers of Kilifi are looking up to, Mr. Speaker, so that TSC, just like many other organizations that are yet to update their records and be guided by the constitutionally mandated organ for distribution of resources in this country, Mr. Speaker, and this qualifies as a resource salary, Mr. Speaker, can guide the process so that we don't have different classification for police officers, a different one for teachers.
Senator what is the problem? Proceed.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I'm actually done. That's a point that I wish that the...
Senator Maisha.
Okay.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kitu cha kwanza nataka kuwapatia kongole wale walioleta hii taarifa, wale walimu walioleta hii taarifa. Bwana Spika, tunaelewa kwamba sisi sote ni wale waliohitimu kutoka kwa akili na mafunzo ya walimu. Bwana Spika, petition hii ama taarifa hii ni muhimu sana ndani ya hili bunge la Senate, ya kwamba tuweze kuangalia matatizo yanayokumba walimu katika sehemu zao zote wanazofanya katika Kenya nzima. Japokuwa hii petition imeletwa na watu wa Kilifi, na mimi nikiwa kama seneta wa Kilifi ninajua matatizo yanayowakumba walimu katika maeneo walioyataja hapa. Bwana Spika, ninaona taarifa hii ni ya haki na ni ya ukweli ya kwamba kuna sehemu zingine ndani ya Kilifi ambazo zimefika katika kile kiwango cha kwamba yale mapato yao hayalingani na zile sehemu ambazo wanaketi. Ni sehemu ambazo hivi sasa ziko ghali na maisha yako ghali, na ndio sababu tunasema kwa sababu gani sisi mimi na support hii petition. Kwa hiyo mimi nataka kusema tu ya kwamba, ndugu zangu maseneta, hili ni jambo muhimu sana linalohusika na walimu, na sisi sote lazima tuungane pamoja ili tuweze kuunga mkono petition hii. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having worked in Kilifi as a doctor, Mr. Speaker, I would be failing if I don't stand in this House
Senator
to support
Mazayo, Senator Tabitha, and Senator
Methu.
I call you to order, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was saying, as a public servant who has worked in Kilifi as a doctor